Hello, my name is Pepijn the Visscher. I recently graduated in economics from the Radboud University, and I started a company. Let's take a look at a very typical scenario, a scenario you probably see at every university. Three students work on a paper. They collect data, they draw conclusions, they make recommendations, and as soon as they're done, they're supposed to give a presentation in class. And as soon as they're done giving the presentation, the teacher gives them a grade. Because they did well, they receive an 8. As soon as they get the grade, no one is ever going to look at that same paper again, right? 9 out of 10 times, that's the case. In fact, it's just being thrown away. Isn't that just weird? These students have been spending a month of their lives, which is a long time, and no one is ever going to look at that paper again. That's just wasteful. In fact, it kind of bothers me that it's just the way it is, and no one is even questioning it, just how it is. I think we could change that. In fact, I think there's much room within society for these students to work on something that would benefit someone. In fact, from a student's perspective, wouldn't it be much more fun to work on a case while knowing that someone is going to benefit from it, right? All of a sudden it becomes meaningful. And once it gets meaningful, it just becomes more fun, more enjoyable. And if you enjoy it more, then it probably motivates you, it might inspire you to work harder. And if you work harder, you probably learn more, right? So, once we start providing these meaningful cases to students, then not only is society benefiting, but at the same time, education becomes more effective. Students learn more. Create a meaningful purpose and students learn more. So let's take a look at this from a company's perspective, or from society, if you will. Would there be room in our society for students' labor? If I would be a company and I need a new sales strategy, where would I go? Let's say I have a newspaper company and my sales are declining because the internet is providing free news, right? Less people subscribe. Legit problem. So I need a new way on how dealing with that. So I need a new sales strategy. Well, I would probably go to a consultant. No doubt that any consulting firm would come up with a new sound sales strategy. If I need a marketing plan, I'll probably go to, again, a marketing consultant. And the same if I need a new way to motivate my employees. I'm sure there's so much research being done on the subject that a consultant would come up with a nice and sound sales strategy of way to motivate my employees. But that's only the case if you're a large company or a multinational. Because what's the problem with consultants? They're too expensive. That's right, thank you. They're simply too expensive. So if I'm a large company and I need a sales strategy, I'll probably go. But what if I would be a small or mid-sized company and my revenues would be 600,000 or 800,000 euros? I wouldn't go to a consultant because that's simply too expensive. So if you're a small company and you need a sales strategy, where do you go? I don't know. You probably don't go anywhere simply because you can't go anywhere. The point I'm making is that within our society there's gigantic room for students labor, if you will, right? All these small and mid-sized companies that can't afford, by chance, any consultant. I'm not saying that students are as good as consultants in any case or in any situation, but in some situations they might actually be. In fact, if you're not convinced of a student's intelligence or quality of work, and just talk to a few around you, right? So if there's room in our society for students' labor, that's good news, because on the one hand, we have demand for students' labor, and on the other hand, we have companies that have real-life cases. As in, we have students that want real-life cases, and we have companies that want students to work on them. So I think it's fair to say that we have a market. And if we then have a market, the next question is, how do we connect both, right? And this is not an easy question. Let's take a look at this from a teacher's perspective. Let's say you're a marketing teacher, teaching master students, and for the past 3 years you've been using a certain project for first semester students, which has always been a fictional case, and you never really thought of using a real-life case, but you like this initiative, and you might look around, this teacher is going to look around, hey, let's see if I can find a real-life case that I could replace my fictional one with. And so he starts calling some people, some friends that work at companies, but nobody actually does have a real-life case. So it would be really convenient for him to simply go to a list, maybe, right, on the internet. A list, click on marketing, and all of a sudden all kinds of companies from around the world that are having some kind of a problem they need ideas for or solutions, they come up with a list. This is the time I have left, right? So you click on that, and this list, and you could just pick a case that fits his subject and the time period, and use it in his class to replace just the fictional case with. Well, that's kind of the company what I intend, or what I started a few months ago. So we started brainrag.com, and in fact, we go after companies. If we just read, innovative solutions by students for companies. Companies place a challenge, students upload solutions, and the best solutions split the prize money. So the way we do this, we make it competitive, in a sense. So if you're a company and you need innovative solutions or ideas or concepts, then you provide it as a competitive case on our site, and the best ideas win the prize money. So if we just take a look at the Delta competition, which we recently hosted, it's a challenge by Royal Haskoning, and they ask students, how can cities and river deltas respond to the effects of climate change? We got 29 submissions. We hope to get more in the future, but we're young, so. But these 29 submissions, quality-wise, were outstanding. In fact, Royal Haskoning invited the top 3 best submissions and had them present in front of the board. But they were from the United States and from Indonesia, so they actually flew them in. And the interesting thing is that this girl from Indonesia, she's 22, we usually wire the money to them using PayPal, but she didn't have a PayPal account because she didn't have a bank account. So she just won $3,000 and she doesn't have a bank account. Isn't that interesting? That's one of the nicer side effects of the model. Well, we had 2 challenges in the past months. Not quite the list that I just talked about. But I do hope to intend to create that list sometime in the near future. So if any one of you happen to have an interesting case you could use some intelligent students for, you have to let me know. Or if you happen to know someone who happened to have a case. Get the point. From a student's perspective, a small remark. Since we're young, our database of students, and we aim to focus on the Netherlands and on the United States. I studied in the United States for 1 year, and that's where we actually started this company with 2 of my American partners. But I applied for a visa, and it got rejected. So I'm stuck in the Netherlands. But the good part is that we speak English too in the Netherlands, and companies do too. So it becomes kind of a global platform. And, oh right, the point I was making is because we're young, the size of our database is relatively small. So you have a relatively large chance of winning money. So students should participate. Well, I guess that's pretty much my presentation. Thank you.